The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to another No Ifs, Ands, or Buts. He is Matt Butts. That is BUTTS, mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net. His phone number is 205-948-4958, 948-4958. I'm actually on his site right now. Super easy to navigate. Normally, when you're reaching out to a divorce or family law guy, you're probably not in the best of shape, probably not in the best of moods. He's made it very, very easy for you at mbutslaw.net if you want to be part of something like that. And he is one of the best, and that's why I love doing a show with him every single week right here on Tony Kurre Radio. What's up, my man? How are you? You look, I said you look tired. I will not say tired. You look rested for a good reason. Why is that?
That is because we just finished our yearly vacation.
You bum. Love that.
We have a conference every year in Destin, Divorce Lawyers Conference, and we make a vacation out of it. So we pull the camper and spend about 8 days in Destin, and we just got back yesterday.
So tell me what happens at a lawyer convention. What happens at a divorce lawyer convention? What are we talking about here?
Well, lawyers need 12 CLEs, which are continuing legal education credits for the year, and you can get those there, as well as networking opportunities. It's called Divorce on the Beach. And anybody who's practicing divorce law in the state of Alabama really needs to know about this because it really is a good opportunity. You can get all your networking, all your CLEs and a lot of good networking done.
What's a CLE? What is that?
Continuing legal education.
Okay.
We need 12 every year.
And I would bet that in a weird kind of way, that is an interesting place to be having some type of convention, because I would imagine that a lot of divorces start and finish at the beach. Am I wrong? I just know that when the teeth starts getting whitened, I know when you start working out at the gym at 9:00 at night, because it's the only time you can work out. I know that, if you want to make 10 pounds of fat look good, you put some tanning on it. There, all of a sudden, when you come back from the beach, I know that the beach changes me. It transforms me. It always makes me want to be a better person, a better man, a better father. It also makes me want to go get rich and have a place down there at the beach. But I would imagine some people probably go down there and they probably feel the same way. They get back and feel pretty good about themselves, and maybe divorce is probably the next thing they get into. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all sorts of catalysts for divorce.
Yes.
For me, it is just getting down there and just tuning out for a minute, which kind of leads us into our topic on boundaries.
Yeah, so, I love this. This is going to be great, and I'm so glad that you, just for people know, I've obviously been through a divorce myself, so I've kind of got a few questions of my own, enough to last us at least a couple of years for content. But I always reach out to Matt and say, hey, is there anything you want to particularly get into based on maybe some of the cases he's working on, or maybe some cases in the past? And today you wanted to get into lawyer-client boundaries.
Yes, I do.
Let's just start right there. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that every lawyer is different. Some lawyers use their personal cell phone for lawyering. That's fine. Some don't. I don't. I used to. And then, we got so busy that I really could not. I'm not a good texter anyways. Okay. Don't ask me to be a good texter. I'm not going to be one, and I'm not one.
Okay.
And I need a break. I'm not a good texter. I'm sorry. Like, I wish I was, but I always end up putting like a Z at the end of words, and I don't know how it got there. And I've already hit send before I've seen it. So if you happen to be in possession of a lawyer's cell phone number, before you give that to anyone, you need to ask them, because when a lawyer is finally shutting off and spending time with their own kids and doing these things, and then they start getting blown up on their cell phone from someone they don't even know, about a problem that just happened. It's like, dog, you need to, like, call my office, man. We've got numbers out there. We've got all sorts of stuff. And I don't like, I put out the fire in as much as I can and then set boundaries later, because people don't know. I mean,
No.
and if you don't know, you don't know. But I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, it just beguiles me, because like, if I have a bad stomach ache, I'm not like, get my doctor on the phone right now.
Yeah.
I need to talk to him. This could be a hernia. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm scheduling an appointment with the doctor and then getting in there. It's just, it gets tough sometimes, man, because, and especially it happens when you go on vacation. You'll have like 5 or 6 people that are just swarming you. And it's tough. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the fact that I'm in a position to where I can help people, and to where when their world is crumbling, I can be there and help them through that. However, man, I got to structure that my way, because if I don't, like, it's just chaos everywhere.
Well, and it's chargeable, right? I mean, we talked about this earlier. You
Not
know, every
really.
time you. Why not? I mean, if every phone call is chargeable, why isn't a text chargeable? If someone's texting you something, I need to answer something. I mean, you're working for them. You should be able to charge them, right?
Well, at that point, they've just reached out. We have no contract. I'm not doing really any work.
But I mean, if you have a client and you already signed,
they're not clients. No, the clients know not to do that. I'm talking about kind of some newer people that just kind of go through some stuff.
Okay.
And we have some people, like, I'll tell you this too. If you call in and you're rude to my paralegal, number one, I'm going to know about it. Number two, well, why would you ever do that? We've had some people do that, like, and I get it. In the heat of the moment, if you're getting arrested, you want somebody on the phone now. But I mean, think about this. Do you really want a lawyer who's just sitting around waiting by the phone for somebody to call with an emergency? You don't want that.
No.
So why would you get mad when a lawyer is not sitting around waiting by the phone? But that's what they deal with.
Well, you know, in the first time, if you're a newbie to this, and say you've never been in a court before, maybe you've had a misdemeanor, or maybe you had a DUI, 20 years ago, whatever. And you didn't need to go to court for it. But the first time you show up, you think to yourself, okay, you're going to trial, right? And most lawyers don't want to go to trial. They'll do everything to mediate it and get it fixed. So you don't want to go to trial because it's super expensive. The judges don't want to go to trial. No one wants to go to trial. But you just can't avoid it. And you get there and all of a sudden you realize there's 14 other U's on the docket for the day.
That's right.
You're getting there at 9 o'clock in the morning and you're jonesing, you're freaking, you're saying our fathers until even Jesus doesn't want to hear any more prayers. And then you realize that you've got another 6 hours to sit on your ass and wait and figure out what you, and really in some cases that may be the 6 hours where you actually decide, hey, listen, I don't want to go through with all this because it's not fun. It's not a good time. Your ass will be soaking wet by the time you get out there. You will be, it's not fun.
You got to realize a lot of people are going through stuff, a whole lot. And lawyers are trying to fill that for everybody. But we have a pretty good gauge on what is an emergency and what isn't an emergency. The judges do too. So when you've got 6 other cases and one of them involves an emergency, that's automatically bumped ahead of you.
Yeah. And again, having gone through this process, I can remember being on the phone with my lawyer and I needed to talk to her right now because it was a situation where I knew where someone was and I knew that I had them in a spot where I needed to talk about what was going on at that particular moment. And so they spoke with me. Now, I didn't have my attorney's cell phone number until the day of the trial because she texted me and said, are you here or where are you? And so at that point I knew it and I said, can I use this? And she goes, yeah, but heads up, this is my personal phone. And so I've never had any reason to text her since then. I respect that. And she's pretty good about it. But I also think lawyers are pretty good about getting back to their clients in a relatively big time. If you have a client and you have something really, really important and your lawyer is not getting back to you in your timely manner, 2 things are happening. First, you have not paid them yet. or or number two, it's not that important, and it can wait. And I will tell you this: that when you put that when you put the money up, you put money up, you work. You work, and if you ain't got no money to work with, then you're probably not the most important thing in the day, and that's just the way it goes. Think as a client, you're a graphic designer, right? And someone's giving you $10,000, and another person is giving you zero. Which one you going to start on first?
I mean, you got to feed your family.
Sure.
Nobody who is out there working for no money.
Yeah.
I mean, I know as small business owners that happens to us a lot. But at the end of the day, if somebody has a job and they're willing to show up to that job week in, week out and not get paid, okay, maybe we can talk. But if you're not that guy, and even if you are that guy, I still need to get paid. And so do lawyers. Like, it's amazing to me how we do get treated like charities sometimes. I'm not saying everybody does that. A lot of people respect our time and really, really understand kind of the value of the service, but other people just walk in here, man, and they're like, what you going to do for me? I ain't got no money. I'm like, okay, but there are services for that. I've got a whole staff here. We do things very well here.
Yeah.
They got families to feed. I've got a family to feed. No, I just can't do it.
It's interesting because there's people out there that you never want to go out and have dinner with, because regardless of how great the service is, they're going to bitch and moan about something. Do you know what I'm talking about? I used to have a girlfriend.
There's always some.
Every time I went, she would always get things on the side and things would be different. And did you get that? And are you sure you don't need to write it down? And blah, 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 blah. And of course, it always came back. And I never had a problem with my order, but she always had issues. And I just knew it was going to be a blow up every time we went out. And so I finally said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not, we'll just go through drive-throughs if that's what we have to do. But she was all about, I'm the customer and customer's always right. And I demand service. And if I'm paying you for a service, then I should be able to treat you the way I want to treat you. And I'm like, good luck with that. I can honestly tell you, just based off my experience and based off the people that I've gone to court against, I try to do everything I can to be as nice to my lawyer, because I feel like if I'm nice to them, they're going to do a better job for me. They're going to go, listen, I feel for this guy. I want to work my ass off for this guy, and I want to see this guy win, as opposed to someone being told, hey, listen, you must represent this person, even though they want to try to get rid of your ass. Which I've seen too.
We're going to fight regardless, but I think you make a very interesting point, and the distinguishment I make is that there's a big difference between customer service and client management. And when I hire people, I tell them we do not do customer service here, because customer service entails customers always right. Got to always keep them happy. And don't get me wrong, we're not just trying to piss people off.
Sure.
However, they ain't always right. That's why they're here. And they pay us enough to where we need to be the one person in the room telling them what everyone else knows, but is too afraid to tell them, and as well as the legal stuff that their friends don't know. Man, but you have to be able to look at somebody and say, you're wrong. You can't do this. I mean, if you do this, it's going to go poorly. Whereas customer service just tries to keep them happy all the time. Man, there's a lot of line there, because if your client's happy all the time and they're in your office, like, there's something wrong. We tell them how to get there. We tell them how to strategize and get to where we want to go. But I mean, I'm not going to promise you the moon stars are really too much anything. I'm just going to tell you, you got to fight ahead of you, and this is how we need to do it.
I would say, and I wanted to ask you the question: the first time you meet with a client, they come in, they just found out that she's been cheating, or she wants to leave them, or he wants to leave her, or whatever, and you're sitting down with them for the first time. What are some of, not your demands, but what do you ask of a client outside? Hey, be honest with me. Tell me everything so I know what I'm dealing with. I'm on your side. You're hiring me to make this happen. Obviously, we got some uphill battles here. But what are the things that you share with your clients right in that first meeting to make sure you're on the same page?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is I sit down and I ask a whole lot of questions. And that does for me a couple of things. Number one, I get a whole lot of information. Number two, I can read people pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of tell, hey, they're holding something back. Hey, they're not holding something back. And really it's so situation by situation that I have to do that in order to really know what I'm going to need. Or what I'm going to ask, but there's stuff you ask. I mean, hey, is child support up to date? If we're doing a modification, we ask income. We ask I mean, there's a lot of staples, just a whole lot of framework that really builds out people's lives. And once you get that, you get to the more specific questions that you wouldn't even know to ask until you ask those. So
there you go. All right, great stuff. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. We always get a ton of email questions because this is a free service here on Tony Curry Radio. The man pays for his time, and he's been nice enough to do that. And he also answers your questions. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. MButtsLaw.net. MButtsLaw.net is BTTS 948-4958. Something along the lines of what we just did. Eric in Birmingham wants to know, what's the difference between someone that does the kind of work you do and then a public figure, maybe a public lawyer, one that's appointed to a particular case. You are going through a divorce and you are tapped out, broke. You ain't got nothing, and you can't do it. How do you find a lawyer? Do you have to represent yourself? And when you're talking about other cases, criminal cases, and you don't have a lawyer, how are public defenders appointed, and how do they get paid?
All right. So, criminally speaking, the judge will generally in circuit or district court appoint an attorney to represent someone who is indigent and doesn't have the money for an attorney. I am a public defender in Mountain Brook and in Cordova, and I'm just there. Like, I'm there for every court session. If somebody's indigent, they don't have the money.
What does indigent mean?
It just means that they fall at a certain level below the poverty line or
Gotcha.
right at it. So I'll be there to represent them. Now, what I do in my private practice in divorce, you're not necessarily entitled to an attorney. In that you're generally you're not going to jail. Now, if there's a case where you could be going to jail, such as a contempt action, potentially, you can get potentially legal aid or someone to represent you for that. But public defense is usually thought of in the criminal sphere. And it just really depends on what level you're at, what you're going to get there. I think Jefferson County has a public defender's office, but I think the judges also just appoint individual attorneys as well.
Okay. Info TonyCurryRadio.net. Stacy in Birmingham wants to know, at what age can a child be in the court case? At what point can a child actually get up and say one way or another? We've talked about this a little bit. It's the worst of the worst. The worst. Divorce sucks. There's no way around it. And the kids are the ones that get hurt the most. And I realize that kids, much like parents, we don't have favorite children, but we do get along with some better than others. And I realize that I'm seeing this with a friend of mine right now who, if you're listening, it's not you. Because everyone thinks I'm talking about them. But
it's a friend who doesn't listen. Yeah.
The child in this case is like 17 and doesn't like the way one parent is parenting and likes the way the other parent is parenting because they don't parent as rough or as disciplinary like the other one. And so they're kind of playing the parents against each other, irreconcilable differences. Remember the movie? And so it's getting a little, and then, obviously the parents are having none of it, but they're seeing this child play it both sides, which good for them, I guess. At what age, or is there an age that a child should ever get on the bench or say anything, particularly if the child really wants to?
All right. So again, I don't like a minor child testifying unless they just have to, unless there is no other way. Abuse, things like that. However, and there's really not an age where they get to absolutely say this is what's going to happen and this is where I'm going to live. However, at 16, how do you stop them? Do you put your hands on them and go to jail? Not a good idea. Um, how do you stop them? It becomes a very, very hard thing. People try to hold the other parent in contempt when that child just refuses to go, but there's nothing that parents do, and they're even encouraging the child to go, and they're just like, I'm not going. This has been kind of an epidemic.
You're talking about going to the other parent's house.
Going to the other parent's house. Because
what do you do?
On one hand, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and been there, done that.
You try to restore the relationship. I mean, obviously that's the number one thing you'd want to do, but that's been a huge problem because on one hand, yes, a 16, 17-year-old child may be a little more say. On the other hand, still a minor child, still doesn't get to make all these decisions. Also, generally very situationally smart and knows how to play parents against each other. And that may be happening too. Maybe it's not happening. Maybe it is. And you can't let that happen either. It's because they don't get to run the show. So
yeah, normally it seems like you got one parent that's pretty laid back and the other one's just bent on hell, high water.
And both of them are wrong if you ask either one of them.
And again, when they were together, maybe that's one of the reasons they're not married anymore, but when they were together, they both, you hope, supported each other's ideas because as parents, you must be on the same page together or else it'll never work. And you hope that they are. And that's, you find some common ground there and you do what's best. The other thing I think is really interesting is something you need to keep in mind is that when you do discipline a child at your house, if you have joint custody, if you have, I'm taking your phone away from you for a year. Okay, you have to think about what's that going to look like when they're going over to mom or dad's house because so they can't use the phone at your house. Exactly. Yeah. So how is that going to affect or no more television for you? And like you're going to call your ex and say, by the way, I've told them they can't watch television. Well, that doesn't affect me. I didn't have the problem with them, so they're going to watch TV all they want at my house. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the way it is because you're no longer having those discussions about what's best for the child because you're not together anymore. And so it can get kind of ugly.
That's why 50-50 custody, again, generally doesn't work if you're not co-parenting well.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
And death by 1,000 cuts over and over and over. Sometimes people are able to really co-parent well and do discipline well. Other times they are not.
Yeah.
So,
and again, if people would just remember that it is about the child first, always and forever. I know some people are like, well, the child would be better off not seeing mom and dad argue 24 hours a day. And so this divorce is actually going to benefit them. I understand where you're coming from, but try to remember that if you're talking about the kid, that it is the kid first and foremost, what's best for the child, not you, not your feelings, not whether you want to get out of town or stay in town or go have somebody with that blah, 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 blah. What's going to be best for this kid because they're already going through hell. And just because a lot of people are doing it doesn't mean it's making it any easier. We always talk about death. We're all going through death. It doesn't mean if you have a death in the family, it makes your day any easier than anyone else's. We all have to go through some things in life. So it's difficult. 948-4958, 948-4958, mbutslaw.net. Give me an example of when someone has not left you alone. Like when you used to have your phone, and they're just like, dude, you're blowing me up, or like, and can you fire a client? Can you say, get away from me? Yeah. I'm assuming you've done that before.
I have. It takes a lot. It takes a whole lot. It takes a lot, but you get me there. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I've had clients who are, everything, I've gone through, I've spent the time, I've taken the time, I've said all the words that I can say, but it's just the anxiety of the things that would just make them blow up my phone. It's one of the reasons I gave up my cell phone, because they would just call over and over and over and over. Do you think this person likes me? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. I'm getting there too. So, I mean, I'm helping you with the legal stuff, but I cannot field phone calls at 7 p.m. about feeling jittery. I can't do it, man. I cannot. If there's an emergency, we have a system for that, and I can be available like a whole lot if there's an actual emergency. Now you pull that emergency card like once and it not be an emergency, and I'm like, at that point, like there are boundaries. We enforce those boundaries. I will say that because at the end of the day, we are working with a lot of people. There's a lot of volatile situations, and you do not need to manipulate my system. Let me tell you this too: if my paralegal, who is awesome, gives you a time, schedules you a time, do not go around her back and try to get a better time for me. I'm not the manager here. I don't see. That's not what happens. I'm going to tell you every time what she gave you is the best.
Yeah,
take it.
I love it. That's great. All right. Great stuff, my man. As always, 948-4958, 948-4958, area code 205, mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net. We had mentioned the last couple of weeks, and I know you deserve to have that week off, and I'm so glad you had some time off. But it is a really busy time for divorce lawyers and stuff. So please keep that in mind. And they're not all the same. That's why I love having you on the show, because I know you're one of the best. I only associate myself with the best of each particular situation I'm dealing with. So I greatly appreciate you being on the show. But we'll get after it. info@TonyCurryRadio.net, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. If you have any questions, we'll go straight emails next week, because I have a bunch of emails, lots of questions. Because so we'll go all emails next week. But keep them firing. We'll keep them going. And I'm so glad you're back vacation. Get to work.
Yeah, man. Maybe changing my cell phone number. So if I do, I'll let you know the new one.
There you go. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.